The city sleeps at night. Don't laugh. If you laugh, it doesn't work. Hey everybody, it's your boy. What's up? So I'm here on the ledge. No, I'm not gonna jump. It's okay. It is VRChat after all, so if I fall, I just respawn and come back up. Everything's cool. I'm actually here because this week I made an astounding discovery that if you plug an Ethernet cable into the computer, I don't have to spend 3 hours synchronizing audio files to the video. And so, you know, maybe this one will be a little better because there will be actual editing, because I didn't start the actual editing process at 1 a.m. So the last video, last I looked at it at this moment, which is Friday, 6 views. Yay. At least the people, you know, I know there's like 2 or 3 that are actually watching it every time, and that's great. And I'm not promoting it or anything. I'm just you know, I thought the algorithm gods would bless me, and they didn't. And we gotta try, right? Because that's one thing I believe. Even if there's no hope at all, you still gotta keep going, because that's what God would want. That's pretty dark. So, you know, I turned to various sources, went out to the crossroads, and tried to get the man himself to come and talk to me. And instead I got like these people. I just want to say, if you look at that deal, okay, none of it's binding. Although they did do some weird things with my soul. And, you know, I found it a few days later, you know, on the side of the road. Kind of rough, kind of used up and stuff. It's taken a little bit to kind of get it back up to shape, but you know, things are going. You know, I did give the devil a call, and I talked to his secretary for a while. You know, like I said, he's in LA. She kind of explained, you know, they just don't really have the distribution that the big players do right now. You know, like he does work with all of them, but more of like a consultant. And they explain, you know, even if I were to make a deal with him, he can't control, you know, what they're gonna do. He just, you know, he just kind of guides them and suggests things and stuff, and he could definitely put my name in, but he said that's kind of like the best. So here we are. So like I've decided to turn to even darker sources of potential views, and naturally that is Hollywood itself. You know, movie reviews, because that's pretty much the only way that we really get anywhere on YouTube. You know, don't want to hear about your opinion on books. I don't want to hear your opinion on, you know, history or even court proceedings, I guess, unless you're gonna go along with one agenda or another. We can do our little shows, can like bare our souls to the world and do all these stories and come up with original content on our own. But if it's not related to some, you know, major Hollywood production, you can forget it. You know, but hey, if I spend like, you know, 5 or 10 minutes talking about some movie, there are, of course, movies that are relevant to this channel. So you know, naturally I wanted to choose, just with the theme of where things are going, you know, the darkest of... Oh, what happened to my staff? Uh-oh. Oh, I better see a doctor about this. I keep looking over at this like bay over here, and I swear there's a submarine or something. No, it's a crane. I don't know. I get so distracted by these sceneries. Just crazy. They don't look real. It looks like I'm trapped in some nightmare fucking video game world with a flat, you know, like tarp around me. And that's kind of one of the issues, but we'll talk about that in another episode. So I thought I'd talk about a movie, and I did see one lately that's very relevant to this channel, of course. You know, because this channel is about, you know, animal people, and, you know, I'm a lizard person, and we've talked about, you know, cat people and corgi people, and you know, I think there are rabbit people in that one too. And what else? You know, other lizard people, which, you know, there's a lot of us, and we'll get to that in another episode. And some of us are from outer space, and some of us are changelings, and some of us want to rule the world. Not all of us, not me, but some of us. Oh man, it's kind of cold up here. It won't stop raining. So and we did shows about other human animal hybrids, like Kurt Cobain. God, doesn't even make sense. Kurt Cobain. So naturally, when you're talking about movies that are related to us, what better to start than the Batman, and specifically the Batman, which was the latest the incarnation of this comic character that's been around for a long time. So I thought I'd review everyone's favorite mascot enthusiast, and I watched it, and or I tried to watch it. I was definitely, my eyes were open. Okay, I'm not gonna say I was consciously aware of what was going on the whole time, because it was about 3 hours, and I gotta say, this was one of the most boring movies I've ever seen. There's a scene. Okay, the thing is, like, if you're a writer, there's certain rules that you're told, and you don't have to follow them. Okay, you can, for dramatic reasons, you can break any rule, but it's basic things like try to avoid flashbacks. Don't describe people with numbers is a good one for everyone. Try to stick to point of views, although that you can break that, and just other things. And one of the big ones that they always talk about: don't spend a lot of time describing a character coming through a door, walking through a place. Like, you don't have to talk about them like twisting the doorknob and opening the door up and walking through and looking around. You just say they entered the room. And the thing is, in this movie, I swear there's a scene that goes on for at least a minute. It felt like 5 or 10 of I think it's either Bruce Wayne or Batman. I can't even remember which one he was. And it's the most elaborately set up cinematic, walking through the door I've ever seen. I mean, they had 20 different camera shots. Everybody's face is shown. He walks through and then he walks through again. I mean, it felt like that. And the thing is, 3 hours. This movie felt like 3 different movies, or 3 different writers, each sat down with a script and then jammed it all in together at the end. So for that reason, like, it took me a while to really understand what this movie was, but I'll get to that. Because I want to start with Batman and what Batman really is. Batman was real popular around a time when we were real popular, and accepted. And we did a lot of cool stuff at the time, and we had our patron saints, crazy cat people. So we were really like hip and banging, in the 20s and the 10s, and real popular, especially in England, in America. And it was just, kind of a folk renaissance of funny animal people. And then you had, those damn pulp comics, and they had to start coming up with superheroes. Naturally, what did they do? Could they come up with their own stuff? Could they be original at all? No, they stole from us. Okay, they appropriated our culture, and they dressed up as us, and they went around and called themselves our names. They stole our identities, and then they became more popular than we were, and we got thrown aside into the waste bins of history, undergrounded. And I don't want to talk about what happened after that. Let's just say Robert Crumb was the start of a really bad trip. No, they stole our culture, and it's not just Batman. They all did. X-Men and Spider-Man. I mean, right there, man, in the title. Couldn't they have called him like Radioactive Boy or something? I mean, why do you gotta, like, you use our likenesses, but then you totally disrespect us? You don't stay true to our form, okay, to our humility. And if you look, watch a lot of superhero stuff, like, they'll be like these animal people, but like, they're just people. So what, why even bother other than it's just style, man. It's just like an appearance thing. They put these costumes on and they think it gives them like some sort of power, but they're really just a bunch of, nerds. So anyhow, Batman, the true story of Batman is that it's really the fan fiction, that this guy writes, and he's known down at the comic book store, let's say, and he gets into fight with the other nerds there, and they, nerds and other, aficionados, let's say, dorks, weirdos, creeps, I'm using terminology, 20 years old, dating myself. Hey guys, did you see Napoleon Dynamite? It's this cool movie. I gotta tell you all about it. So he has these little scuffles, and then he goes home and writes these fan fictions about him, going out and beating up people, and of course it's always from his point of view, so he's always the good guy. And Batman, he's just your typical, mascot enthusiast. Okay, he's got, childhood trauma, and he's fixated, on an animal. Fits his, his desires in life and what he'd like to be. He'd like to become, like an animal that can fly, but also is dark and can't be seen at night. So both invisibility and flight at the same time, which is having your cake and eating it. As anyone who's listened to This American Life knows, I'm sorry, I'm not a fan. And he's also a typical trust fund kitty, rich. He can spend his money where he wants. So naturally he has his, his den, where he calls it the Bat Cave, but, and he's got all his toys down there and his costumes and even his cool car and everything. And he just, he loves to go out at night dressed up and go and mess with other people who are also dressed up as animals. and of course, he writes it and it's really cool. He makes it cool. But it's gone through iterations, like originally, as part of the crime capers sort of style of stuff and basic, action comics. Because comics were how we existed at that time. Like I said, he goes out. There's all these other animal people, and there's Catwoman, and then you got a half woman, half plant. You got Sandman, he's half man, half sand. You got the Penguin, it's right there in the title. Robin. One thing you notice, if you're a bird, you don't get a the. Batman is he's the Batman, but Robin. And yet, okay, you do have Joker and the no, was he the puzzler? Is he the puzzler? You got, Joker and the puzzler, but they're kind of goths and stuff that show up and they represent, other types of nerd subculture that he interacts with as well. And that's why Joker's always laughing at him. Because the goths are always laughing at the people in the animal costumes, of course, as everyone is. And as time has gone on, Batman sort of responded to this. He in the 60s, he sort of he camped it up, and Batman's always been sort of campy, and it works that way. He's kind of yeah, I know I'm dumb looking in a bat costume of all things, but hey, here's this giant bomb. And the jokes are good and the acting's funny. And anyhow, not much was really done with them until the 90s. And Hollywood, of course, good old dark, evil Hollywood got involved and made a great, series of Hollywood films. The first one had, Jack Nicholson, which is, he's one of the better funny animals out there. I mean, he's just, scary as hell. You can't be human to make those faces. And then you've got, and then the second one, in my opinion, just me, that's my favorite. And I just think stylistically, it's got all the best animal people in it. It's got the, Catwoman and Penguin, and the actors are great, and it's just a movie of its time. And the soundtrack is great too. Past that, it just became Mattel Batman, because it was just selling toys and got dumb. And and then in the 2000s, of course, everyone had to be cool all of a sudden. So you had eventually the Dark Knight series. I don't care for it, but I don't like the director or the actor in those cases, and that's just my opinion. I know people love that movie, and I can definitely see why. It's a great, stylistic movie. The thing is, like, it's Batman, and I just can't take Batman totally 100% seriously. And that's what I like about the early 90s, because it wasn't serious. It was like bigger than life. There was something that was sort of like surreal about it, and it worked. With Burton's work, and he does things sort of like beyond reality. And with Dark Knight, it was like it made it too real. If you make things too real, they start getting sort of uncanny, an uncanny valley effect, and they start looking kind of like too much like the Thing that they are. And Batman sort of started to look like a crazy fucking terrorist guy, and his people he's dealing with look pretty crazy too, and it's great, but it's just a little wearing on me. So that trilogy went through, and then a little bit of silence, and now you've got the Batman, which is, at first glance it looks like it's a return to form of the earliest Batman. That's at first glance. After 3 hours of glancing, you realize that I think Batman is having some issues. He's not really accepting himself for what he is, okay, because this is, he's gotten into that phase where he doesn't really want to admit, that they're all animal people. He's totally cool, like he just tells people, it's just kind of like a kinky thing, and it's just about the costumes and dressing up and the leather. And the thing is, like, the main character, Patterson, 50 Shades of Grey, and then before that, the movie that I can never remember the name of anymore, because I think it's True Blooded. It's not. It was like Moon Rising or something. Fucking werewolves and vampires. What the fuck was it called? So anyhow, Patterson. So what you kind of realize after seeing this movie is that this is just kind of a natural continuation for him as an actor. And it's like, this is sort of like almost more of a sequel to 50 Shades of Grey, I think, because a large part of the movie involves him just looking back and forth to the commissioner, and all you hear is like this sound effect is designed to arouse. I can't beat around the bush here. For certain people, it's pretty obvious to me. I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking with this movie. There's some sort of like emotional weight. It's one of those movies where like the music's sort of telling you things that you don't really get. A bit like You Got Served. The people are dancing, and the audience is reacting, but they're speaking in a language that you can't understand. And so you're just kind of baffled, and that's when you realize why another 20% of the film is dedicated to these long shots of Batman and Catwoman just like staring at each other and having these weird emotional sort of meetings. And I gotta tell you, the end of the movie is 10 minutes of them riding motorcycles together and then parting ways at the end. And that, like I said, that was the point where I realized this is not like a Batman movie. This is a Patterson movie. This is some sort of weird, like, adults with lots of money get to dress up, in leather outfits and go out at night on their motorcycles and drive around town and have fun, or maybe that's what like the people that wrote it do. I don't know. Or some of them, because like I said, it's like there's parts of it that are like film noir, but poorly written film noir. Like I said, the door scene, and like I said, he's not a penguin, man. He doesn't even look like a penguin. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't like make penguin noises. He sort of like goes, you know, but he ain't no Danny DeVito. The real thing it tells me this is like one of those denial things. Is you got the puzzler. God, is that his name? Because I want to call him the Quizzer. He's not the Quizler. Yeah, he's the puzzler, isn't he? You know, and the puzzler, and like he is totally, and you can tell that this is one of those, you know, anti sort of things where he's in total denial because one of the characters he brings in is like the total like the guy that he's vilifying, of course, the puzzler. Oh, how the fuck do I? Because he's like kind of an otaku, but he's not. Because he's kind of like, he brings in the guy that he's most embarrassed of, which is of course himself. You know, the guy that kind of lays out the whole thing about like avatars and how you become somebody else when you're the avatar, and you know, and of course like he doesn't really like show up as his self until he's in prison and outside of the rap crap or whatever. You know, like you're supposed to think, oh, that's him unmasked, but no, that's like that's he's a God, what would you even call these people? Like, oh God, fuck, I don't want to use the word. He's just one of these, you know, anti people. How am I gonna edit this in? Well, this is a good run. I think I'm gonna quit there because I'm ready to go to bed and it's late. And I'm gonna go fishing tomorrow. Like, you know, do some of this and some. And hey, big one. You know, and it's stuck. Oh, lost the lure. Damn it. So you gotta reel. And then there we go. See, I mean, this is how I catch my food, by the way. What did you think this was? You people, your mind is in the gutter. I'll tell you this right now. Oh, it's really far down there. So this is a test to try to... Oh no! There we go. No. Oh shit. Oh man. Okay. Oh, here I am again. Yeah, it's just not funny. The script is it's not funny. God, it's so pathetic. The darkness waits. Why does my voice sound like whisper?